1, go. Will the Miami Heat gain revenge against the Indiana Pacers on Friday night? This is another edition of Across the Board with Jeff Grant here at SBRForum.com. Eastern Conference rivals will meet up at Bankers Life Fieldhouse in Indianapolis. Miami Heat opened up as 2-point road favorites in this one, moving as high as 2.5, 3 in the betting market, while the total is anywhere between 182.5 and 183. When looking at the Miami Heat, they've won 5 of the last 6 games. That includes a convincing 105-85 victory over the Brooklyn Nets as 2-point road favorites, a game that I recommended going under the total, and it slipped just under that mark of 191. They have played 8 of the last 10 games on the road, starting that span with an 87-77 setback against the Pacers. That one went under the total of 187, while the Miami Heat failed to cover as 2-point road favorites in that one, so not one of the better situational spots to back the Heat. The big three of Chris Bosh, LeBron James, and Dwayne Wade totaled 66 points in that game, but the rest of the supporting cast around the defending NBA champions, 4 of 22 from the field. That includes 0 points from free agent acquisition Ray Allen of the Boston Celtics of a year ago. I'm not expecting a future Hall of Famer to be limited to 0 points in this one, but it is important to note that Indiana is one of the better 3-point defensive teams in the entire league. The Miami Heat, from a betting trend perspective, 1-4 straight up and against the spread as road favorites of 3 points or less, with all 4 of those going under the total, or all 5 of those going under the total, and their only win in that situation, of course, came last time out against the Nets. When you look at the Indiana Pacers, they snapped a 3-game losing streak last time out, 98-79 victory over the Detroit Pistons as 8.5-point home favorites and going under the total of 180.5. That was coming off a 1-3 road trip where they faced 4 Western Conference opponents, and all 4 of those are some of the tougher home courts in all of pro basketball: Memphis, Portland, Utah, and Denver. So no shame. Of course, they wanted to win more of those games, but going 1-3 isn't as bad when you look back on it, and they got back on track before going against Miami in this one. They lead the NBA in field goal percentage defense, holding opponents to 41.9% shooting from the field. That should prove to be one of the bigger angles to handicap in this game, because the Miami Heat lead the entire NBA in knocking down 48.9% of their shots. The Pacers are allowing 86.8 points per game at Bankers Fieldhouse this year. That has led to a gaudy 17-3 straight-up record at home, 9-1 versus conference opponents when playing in front of their home fans. The Pacers have won and covered both of their times as home underdogs of 3 points or less this year. Of course, the first one came against Miami, and they also beat the Memphis Grizzlies straight up as a home underdog this year. I think this game comes down to rebounding. I don't think the Miami Heat measure up in that category. The Indiana Pacers grabbed a season-high 22 offensive rebounds in the last meeting. I think that means that LeBron James is going to have to spend more time on the defensive glass and less time worrying about scoring this game, and that's not a good thing when trying to cover a 3-point spread on the road. So I'm going to officially pick the Indiana Pacers +3 versus the Miami Heat on Friday night. For any further information on this game or any other on the NBA board, you can follow me on Twitter at Jeff Grant Sports, and you're also going to want to check out another NBA video that I'm doing today live from Las Vegas, and that is the Chicago Bulls versus the Brooklyn Nets at the Barclays Center. This has been another edition of Across the Board with Jeff Grant here at SBRForum.com. Cut.